Did Jake Paul bite off more than he can chew, choosing Hasim Rahman Jr. as his next opponent? Blessed love and blessed day, oh boxing world, boxing nation, fighting world, fight nation. It's Coach Fire and this is real life boxing. Like I said, did Jake Paul finally bark up the wrong tree, choosing Hasim Rahman Jr. as his next opponent with the Fury, with Tommy Fury pulling out? Hey, before we get into it, y'all already know, best double jab straight down the pipe. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified when all content is being uploaded on the channel of Real Life Boxing. Let's get into it. Now, I couldn't help but take in the presser that they had yesterday between these two guys with their fight coming up in just a couple weeks in the beginning of August. And I was actually listening to Showbiz the Adult, his live reaction to the press conference while I was watching the press conference. So shout out to Showbiz the Adult. And interesting that while I was watching the press conference and Showbiz was covering it, me and Showbiz was having the same thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Felt like Hasim Rahman was kind of out talking Jake Paul, hitting Jake Paul with some facts, hitting Jake Paul with some points that he couldn't really argue with, even though he tried to. You know what I'm saying? He tried to go at Hasim Rahman Sr. and he tried to, he tried to do his thing, but ultimately definitely seemed like Hasim Rahman Jr. won the press conference as far as where talking goes, where body language goes, and stuff like that. Jake Paul seemed to be really like just just really stressed and really down. But but one thing that Hasim Rahman Jr. kept saying is that Jake Paul is a content creator. So where me and Showbiz the Adult thought that Jake Paul looked sad, looked like he messed up, looked like he made a mistake, looked like Hasim Rahman was winning the press conference, we always got to remember that Jake Paul is a content creator, and that could have been his way of selling the fight in that way, trying to make people think that he's down and that maybe he's a little nervous now, maybe he's a little scared, maybe he made a bad choice picking Hasim Rahman Jr. I will say this: I think it's pretty clear, and all of us can agree on this, that although Jake Paul is a content creator, that he's definitely been living as a full-time boxer for at least the past 3 years. And I definitely would say that he's been training for more than that. I believe that he's been training for longer than the general public, even a lot of his fans, like diehard fans, really know. Since he got on the scene with this boxing thing, they started off with the YouTubers and so on and so on. But I think that he was training boxing, a while before they actually started making fights, even the little celebrity fights with like Anderson Gibb, those fights. But let's talk about Hasim Rahman Jr. for a little bit. Obviously, the son of Hasim Rahman Sr., the guy who defeated Lennox Lewis and then was defeated by Lennox Lewis, knocked out Lennox Lewis to become heavyweight champion, and then got knocked out by Lennox Lewis to lose the heavyweight championship. But Hasim Rahman had a decent heavyweight career. I always thought he was a decent fighter, not great, decent fighter, good power, and obviously he did beat Lennox Lewis to become world champion. I can't remember if he was a two-time world champion, but anyway, Hasim Rahman Jr., he started boxing at a young age. Said that he took a few years off, wasn't really completely dedicated all the way through, and still hasn't been completely dedicated through his pro career. Now, obviously comes from an elite school of boxing. Like I said, started when he was very young. Jake Paul also trains with an elite school of boxing, but he started very late. He started, in his 20s. Hasim Rahman Jr. started when he was a little kid. So there's a huge experience difference, and most people may think that, that experience alone, for the simple fact that he's the son of a world heavyweight champion, of a former world heavyweight champion, he should be able to beat Jake Paul. And I say but because I'm not sure, I'm not fully sold. I'm still like in between. Either one of them could win this fight, but I'm not going to tell you guys who I'm leaning towards in this video. But anyway, you would think that, he can take care of Jake Paul pretty easily, even though he's been boxing for a long time. We see fighters stop boxing very late and become world champions and bloom very fast. Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, and many, many, many more. We see them start late and bloom very fast. I will say that the Paul brothers, Jake Paul and Logan Paul, are like legit world-class athletes. I mean, Logan Paul is fucking huge. I don't think that people realize like how much bigger Logan Paul was when he fought Floyd Mayweather, like how much bigger he was than Floyd Mayweather. But these guys are big boys and in very good shape and world class. I mean, all-American wrestlers and all of these things, and they seem like they've never stopped training. So good athletes, good learners, seem to pick up fast. And like I said, Jake Paul seems like he's been living as a full-time boxer for a few years now. They go around and spar. These guys have sparred a few times, so they go around and they spar professionals. You know what I'm saying? So they're putting in the work. Well, Jake at least putting in the work and has been working on his craft with elite boxing schools and with elite boxers. You know what I mean? So I think that this fight, woo, like I said, not giving you guys my prediction, and I'm not even telling you guys if I think that Jake Paul bit off more than he can chew. I'm asking you guys, do you guys think that he bit off more than he can chew in this fight? I think that he's been very, very, very intelligent, very smart and very intelligent. And, we'll see if he made a mistake or if he if he barked up the wrong tree, bit off more than he can chew, if his eyes is bigger than his stomach, in this case, as my grandmother used to say all the time. You guys tell me in the comment section, do you think that in this fight that Jake Paul has bitten off more than he can chew, choosing Hasim Rahman Jr. As an opponent? You guys tell me what y'all think about it in the comment section, please, and thank you. Until then, keep fighting your fight. Protect yourself at all times. Peace and one love. It's Coach Fight. It's Real Life Boxing.